Tonight's Coaching Show with Hempfield Spartans coach Rich Bowen is presented by the Ground Round near the Westmoreland Mall in Greensburg. Whether it's specialty burgers and sandwiches, one-of-a-kind fajitas, or one of their homemade dinners, we've got what you like at the Ground Round.
Welcome back to Spartan Stadium. We continue on the Westmoreland Sports Network pregame show. It is Hempfield. It's McKeesport in Week 5 of the high school football season. And it is time to talk with head coach Rich Bowen of the Hempfield Spartans. Our Coach Bowen interview brought to you every week by the Ground Round in Greensburg near the Westmoreland Mall. The Ground Round, we've got what you like. Well, Coach, I guess it's been a little bit of a roller coaster ride for you and your team this year, but you were going downhill at the end of the game last week. Huge victory against Connellsville. Just your overall thoughts about another thrilling win for you this year.
Well, it's like I told the team afterwards, we'll take a win any way we can get it. I mean, we've won 2 thrilling games. We needed that win, especially after, beating Norwin like we did, and then come back and lose the Kiski was tough. So we had to have a bounce-back week, and the kids did it. I mean, they performed wonderfully most of the game, and especially coming back at the end. And, defensively, we keep getting stops when we need them. I mean, the biggest time of the game, we're making stops, and then the offense is executing down the stretch.
Yeah, big second half for Donnie Washington, another big game for him overall. I want to ask you about a couple of different guys' efforts throughout this game. But first of all, you guys really took control of the game on that last drive, even though you weren't ahead and ended up going ahead for the game-winning touchdown. Seems like you really wore down Connellsville's defense in that fourth quarter and on that drive.
Well, we did. I mean, that was the key. That's, we got the ball back, I think, on our own 30-yard line with under 2 minutes to go, and we just kept running the ball in an outside zone into the short side of the field, and Donnie did a great job running the ball, and the line did a great job blocking, and the last couple of plays of that drive, I think Connellsville was really tired, and we were able to take advantage of that. We ran 76 offensive plays that night, and that's a lot of offensive football in high school.
On that drive, too, Sam and I were talking on the broadcast about the terrific job that the Arndt brothers did on the left side of the offensive line. I mean, you guys kept running that same play to the left, and it was funny. Connellsville fans were yelling, "That's the same play. Why can't we stop it?" And it just seemed like they couldn't stop it. Talk about the job that the offensive line on that side of the ball was doing.
They sure did. And, again, that was our plan. I didn't want to panic and start throwing the ball and then go 3 and out. I have faith in Donnie and Washington at running back. We just kept running to Dylan and Danny's side, and they kept getting the job done, along with Hoffner, too, our tight end. He did a great job sealing that edge for us, and Donnie kept picking the holes out and doing a great job getting out of bounds when he needed to, getting the extra yards when he needed to, and he made that big run at the end. And Nick DeAndreth, our ex-receiver, had a great block on a couple of those runs, too, to get him a couple extra yards, and especially into the end zone at the end. So the way we've executed in a couple of the games down the stretch has been outstanding.
If we go back to prior to that game-winning touchdown and talk about the fact that you guys nearly went down by 9 points. Connellsville had scored a touchdown, and they were going to kick the extra point. They attempted the extra point, would have put them up by 9 if they would have connected on the extra point, but you guys blocked it. And it was a huge play at the time because obviously it kept you down by 1 score. You guys get the ball back and you drive down and get a touchdown, and then, of course, the 2-point conversion pass. Just a terrific play on special teams there, and you guys end up getting the game-tying touchdown.
Well, you have to play. Like we've been preaching to our kids all year, we've got to play every play. We got to keep playing till the whistle blows at the end of the game. Don't worry about the score. Just keep chopping wood has been our motto. We're just going to keep chopping and keep playing and see what happens at the end. And I think they've bought into it, and I'm proud of them. I mean, they've done a tremendous job blocking that extra point. It would have been very easy just to say we're not going to do it and let them kick it and, get that, and then to come back and get the 2-point conversion at the end to tie it up. And, it's just, we might not play great football throughout the whole game, but it seems like we're playing it at the right time against some of these teams and taking advantage of some things and getting some wins. And, we got our work cut out for us tonight with McKeesport. I mean, they're a fantastic football team, though, so I sure as heck don't want to try to come back against them.
And I know folks can't see this right now on video, but can you take us through the touchdown that Danny Walters threw last week? I believe it was to Ty McAleese. It was a designed run, I believe, for Danny. He ran to his left, ran back to his right, and there was no running room for him, so McAleese leaked into the end zone. He threw it to him for a touchdown. Maybe one of the first times I've seen that. Can you take us through that play last week?
No, well, it was all by design. I designed that play.
Of course you did, Coach.
No, you're absolutely right. That was a designed quarterback counter to the left off of an inside zone fake to Donnie, and we pulled to both backside guard and tight end, and it was jammed up. Connellsville did a great job at the point of attack, and in typical Danny fashion, he freelanced and bailed out of the run and strolled to his right. And what was really great about that play, Dan, is our offensive linemen who were going downfield are used to Danny doing that kind of stuff, and they saw him, and they got back behind the line of scrimmage, and then you could see Danny waving to Ty McAleese to get off his block and go into the end zone, and he did, and Ty made a great play, and Danny just created a play there. I mean, not very often you get a touchdown pass off a designed run.
Yeah, that's a great point, Coach. I'm glad you mentioned that because that's something people don't notice and maybe don't talk about, the offensive line knowing that Danny does that sometimes, and they had the ability not to go downfield and get a flag.
Oh, you could see a couple of our guys. I think it was most of the left side of our line was almost downfield, and they saw Danny scrambling. They had the wherewithal to get back behind the line of scrimmage. And I was waiting, actually, as the play was thrown and we scored a touchdown. I was looking for a flag because I said, there's no way we're not downfield. And we watched it on film, and, our kids did a heady job by getting back behind the line of scrimmage. And, Danny makes those kind of plays all the time. That's what he did against Norwin, and that's how we won the game on some scrambles. And everybody knows he does that, so our receivers are used to it too.
In the second half, speaking of Danny, you guys really were able to do a great job of drawing Connellsville offsides. I think it was something like 4 times on hard counts, which obviously starts with Danny, but the whole offense has to stay disciplined at that point, and you guys picked up some first downs that way. I'm sure that had to make you have a little smile on your face, the guys able to stay disciplined in that.
Well, it's definite. I mean, we work on that all week. That's our hard count cadence, and we do it in different situations, and Danny does a great job with the hard count, getting them to draw off sides, and everybody else, has to be disciplined enough to stay on. And that's something we work on. It's something that, we don't use a ton of, but there's the right time to use it. And luckily, we got about 3 or 4 of them on Friday.
Donnie's been an absolute workhorse for you, as we've talked about many times. However, a new running back crept into the conversation last week. Nice to see Jordan Kemka get on track. Did he kind of earn more carries, Coach, now for the future to try to take some of the workload off of Donnie?
Yeah, absolutely. Jordan's going to be a great running back for us. I mean, he has all the ability in the world, and that was by design. We're giving the ball too much to Donnie. I mean, he carried the ball 29 times against Connellsville. That's a little bit too much. Plus, he's been a weapon for us out of the backfield catching the ball, and that's something we're going to keep developing as the year goes on. And Jordan's only a junior, so he's got another year with us. And he runs hard. He has enough, moves in the open field to get you those extra yards. So, yeah, that's something we're definitely going to do. And I just can't wear Donnie out to where, I'm giving the ball 30 times a game. We need to get those carries a little bit distributed more evenly. And you'll see Jordan, as the season goes on, you'll see Jordan and Donnie in the backfield a little bit more together, too.
Oh, that should be interesting. You had some reshuffling on the offensive line a little bit. Boo Barth started at center, and Bussy Rameli, your normal center, who's a really good offensive lineman, moved down the line a little bit at tackle. Can you kind of talk about that decision and then the decision to kind of go back to the way it was in the second half?
Yeah, we're trying to develop some, different line combinations. Our line coach, Steve Miller, does a great job with getting those kids ready to play. And it was a move we've used a couple times this year where we put Boo Barth in at center and moved Bussy out to tackle. Bussy Rameli is a great offensive lineman as a junior. He's going to be a great player, and Boo Barth's only a junior. So we just tried some different combinations. But then, we had a bad snap here or there, so we decided to move Bussy back to center and put Boo Barth back at guard and bring Aaron Slavin back in tackle. And that sort of clicked for us the second half and most of the game, so we stuck with that.
Coach, I have to ask you about the contributions of a couple of guys, thinking back to last week's win over Connellsville. Kendrick Wells, Hoffner on defense, and also Braden Brose. I mean, those 3 guys, too, played integral roles. And Kendrick Wells, a kid that you didn't really hear a whole lot about last year, but he seems like he's been all over the place defensively for you.
Yeah, Kendrick played as a sophomore. We saw he was going to be a really tough player. He's just 100 miles an hour every snap. He's playing defensive end probably. It's soaking wet. He's probably 170 pounds, if that. So, I mean, he gets the most out of it per pound. But he's had a great season. He played some for us last year as a sophomore, started a game or two, and he's just getting better and better. And Hoffner's playing linebacker for us. He's doing a great job, getting better and better every week. And Braden Rose is another sophomore who's, 6'4", about 225, and he's only played 1 year of organized football, and, he's getting baptism by fire, but he's doing a great job. He's actually our leading tackler this year, I think, with about 45 tackles in 4 games. So, he's learned a lot of that, Dan, just by playing. I mean, he doesn't have a lot of experience, and he's just a raw, natural talent. And the good thing, all 3 of those kids are back next year, so.
Absolutely. Have a chance to mold them a little bit more. Let's talk about the McKeesport Tigers. They come into town, of course, with that one loss to Penn Trafford and really 3 blowout wins on their ledger. I know you had a chance to go up against the triple option against Connellsville, and no offense to Coach McDonald, but it seems like nobody has run it better than McKeesport over the years. Does that kind of get you ready, though, back-to-back weeks? You go up against that same type of offense. I know Connellsville doesn't have Kalik Hudson and some others, but does that help the defense a little bit, you think?
Oh, yeah, it does. And then we scrimmage Indiana, who runs a version of what McKeesport does, too. So we see it early in the season, too. And, we do a good job of playing assignment football. But that's the thing with McKeesport. And, I have immense amount of respect for Coach Smith and his coaching staff at McKeesport. And what they've done over the last 25 years is amazing, especially since they put that triple option in the early 90s. They just dominate with the run game. And, I don't know if you can ever really stop it. I mean, Penn Trafford did a great job against them, but, it's hard to stop. You just got to be so disciplined. And so you might stop that thing for 5, 6, 7, 8 plays in a row. Then you have one half-missed assignment. They break it for a 60-yard touchdown. And it doesn't take much. And they're a great skilled team. They know the system, and they just do a great job coaching their kids and keeping them disciplined. So, like I said, I have a tremendous amount of respect for them.
Can you kind of talk about, Coach, one final thing, just your keys to victory here today against McKeesport?
Well, Dan, it's again, defensively, we got to play assignment football. We got to be able to slow that triple option down. We got to find a way just to contain it. I don't think you're ever going to truly contain it, but we got to slow it down enough to where we get some stops. And offensively, I like to go at the breakneck speed and run a ton of plays, but there's going to be times tonight where we're going to have to slow the game down a little bit, take some time off the clock and try to string some first downs together and not make turnovers. And, last year we did a good job moving the ball against them, but once we got down inside the 10-yard line, I think we were inside their 10-yard line like 4 times and only came away with a field goal. It's so hard to score down in that red zone because they're so physical and so quick defensively. When that field's condensed, there's not a lot of open ground to move in. So, I mean, we got to take advantage of our opportunities and put points on the board when we can.
Well, always fun to play one of the best teams in the conference. I know you guys will be ready to go. Good luck, Coach. Go get them against McKeesport.
Thanks, Dan.
That's Coach Rich Bowen, our Coach Bowen Show, brought to you by the Ground Round in Greensburg. We've got what you like. Coming up in a moment, we continue from Spartan Stadium on the Pregame Show here on the Westmoreland Sports Network.